Have you ever wished for a resource, video or other, in which all the basic steps of publishing a research paper were explained clearly and precisely? Well, I would like to suggest that this is that resource. So let's see if I live up to your expectations. So from now until the end of this video, I will explain the entire publishing process for a paper for you. Now, please keep in mind that my experience is in humanities publishing, but you can apply these steps to any field of social sciences, or I would even say hard sciences, in publishing a paper. So first thing that you want to know and want to figure out is, what is it that you want to write about? What is going to be your topic? There are two things that will play an important role in that. One, what is it that you're interested in, right? A novel that you're reading. What is it that intrigues you about that novel? What is it that you want to say about it? That's the first step. You're curious about a body of text or a body of knowledge. But you also, and this is a very important step, want to figure out whether what you want to write about is something in which you can contribute something new and isn't something about which someone has already published eloquent papers and explanations. So how do you find that out? That's where your basic research, early research comes in. So you have a novel in mind, you have a certain topic in mind, right? Masood Raja, I want to write about Midnight's Children and how history is treated in the novel. That's my general idea. But I want to find out if someone else has written about that topic or something adjacent to that topic. So I will then go to the available databases that I have access to. If you work at a university, you can go to the MLA directory of journals or MLA directory of articles and just do a keyword search on Salman Rushdie and idea of history, right? Or a focused keyword search, and it will give you a list of articles about that topic or adjacent to that topic. Now, you have 30, 40 articles that have come up through one database. Obviously, you can't read all of those articles at this stage. But what you do is you go through their abstracts. The purpose of abstracts is always to introduce a reader to what is covered in a paper, right? You'll be writing an abstract for your paper too. So you read through the abstracts and you find out that about 6-7 articles are the ones that are related to what's in your mind. Those articles, then you will read carefully, taking notes. Now, after you have done that, you will then figure out, oh, they're all talking about this aspect of history, but no one is mentioning this part of history that has been on my mind. That's your topic. Now, what did this research do? It gave you a gap in the research, but also it told you that the topic you are planning to write on is original, but more importantly, that by writing about it, you are entering a scholarly conversation with the previous authors about that topic or adjacent to that topic. So that's the first step. First purpose of the research is to know who has written about it and how and what, and then you figure out through that knowledge what is it that you are going to say about it. Now, obviously, in this video, I'm not going to cover the writing process itself, but if you're interested in it, I have a whole playlist on it which you can watch, which will give you step-by-step explanation of the writing process itself. So let's say you followed the writing process, and you now have a draft of your paper, a complete draft of your paper, which is almost ready. Now is the stage where you will be looking for proper or journals that might be related to the topic upon which your paper was written. Now you can again go to the databases. MLA directory of periodicals will list for you through keywords journals related to your topic. Or if you go to my website, postcolonial.net, and if you're a postcolonialist, there is a list of about 100 journals that you can look at and find out which one suits you the best. And I'll post the link in the description for that. Now, after you have narrowed down 3 or 4 journals that you think could be possible venues for your paper, you go and read a few articles from those journals, just to see how is it that, what kind of essays do they publish, right? Do they mention what their house style is? Do they mention their review process, right? All of those things you can easily find on the journal websites. Now, when you have narrowed it down to one journal, then you will look at their website in detail. What is the process of submission? Do they accept online submissions? If they do they want you to not include your name in your paper? What is the house style? Is it APA? Is it MLA? Do they want Chicago Manual of Style? Do they want single space or double space? Look at their author guidelines and then prepare your manuscript exactly according to those guidelines, and then follow the process for submission. So that's the second step. After you've written your paper, you have now submitted it. Now, what will happen after that? The journal editors will send your paper for review. They will send it to at least 2 reviewers. This is the most crucial stage for the future of your paper. Now, these reviewers will perform what is called a double-blind review, which means you won't know who reviewed your paper and they don't know the identity of the author. In 3-4 months, sometimes 5 months, you will receive the reviewers' reports. If the editor writes to you and says, here are the reports from our reviewers and they have suggested revisions, please revise and resubmit, that is not something that you should take lightly. That is not a rejection. What that means is that your paper has promise if you revise it. Now you look at the reviewers' reports, each one of them, and look at your paper and incorporate their suggestions in the body of your paper. If there are some suggestions that you think are political in nature, you can decide not to incorporate them. But how do you handle it? After you've revised your paper, you'll be sending it back to the editor, and with that email, you can add a page or 2 of your own rationale, your own revision notes, in which you go point by letting the editor know, I've looked at this suggestion, I've incorporated it in here, I've changed this part, and then if there are 1 or 2 that you disagree with, you can point it out to the editor that I have read these suggestions, but I believe that they do not really enhance the quality of my paper, and hence I've not incorporated them. Send your revision notes along with your revised draft to the editor. Now, the process after that is pretty simple. The editors will make a decision. If they accept your paper, then immediately your paper would be sent to a copy editor. Now, a copy editor or a line editor, what they do is they go over your paper and in track changes, They will suggest any changes to your language, your sentence structures, and they will send it back to you. Now you will go through all the suggested changes and approve or not approve the changes that were suggested. This is also the stage where if you want to make any larger chunks of changes to your text, if you want to add more sources or resources, this is the stage where you will add them in the copy editing. After you have prepared the manuscript with the copy editor's suggestions, you will send it back to the editors. Now, editors would look at your edits. Probably the copy editor would look at it again, and then they will send a clean copy to the layout. Now, the layout editor basically sets the galleys, sets your paper in the shape and form in which it will eventually appear in the print or online version of the journal. After the layout is done, they will send it back to you for a final proofreading. Now, at proofreading stage, you don't make major changes. Proofreading is about, are the numbers correct? Is there an extra space here, or maybe a small change like on has become off, you want to change it. Technically, you never make changes within the PDF. You just write down a separate page where you say line 12, word number 7, change off to on. But these days, if you have access to editable PDF software, you can actually make the changes in the PDF and send it back. But do ask the editors how they want it. Now, after you have sent the galleys back, then it is the final stage, and that is the publication of your paper. Now, that, in a nutshell, is the process of how to come up with a topic, writing a paper, submitting a paper, and then eventually seeing it through the copy editing and layout process and proofreading process, and then final publication. Now, here is the thing. Publications aren't just important for your career, right? When you have published something, you have added your voice to the conversation in your field of study. That means your work will now start having an impact in the world. And that, to me, is the most important reason when we think of publishing, and when we think of publishing in our area of expertise and having it distributed widely. So this, in a nutshell, is the process of publishing a paper. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I have not explained here the details of how to write a draft, how to write your paragraphs, or how to write your conclusion. All of those steps are available in a step-by-step process videos in my writing tips playlist, which will come up at the end of this video. Please watch those videos, and those combined with this brief guideline about the publishing process itself should help you in publishing your first paper. That's all. Thank you so much. Stay safe, take care of each other, and from me to you, peace and love.